This is not going to be a pushover game. This is not going to be a stomp. This is going to be a hype one. 4 versus 4 on your screen. All right, now let's go. And it's going to be an Altai. Altai with a funky What? What is this generation? Why do you get... Wait, why do you get a natural defense and these guys... Sir? Sir? Generation, sir? What? Why? What? This is rigged. This is rigged. This is rigged. I don't understand why 2 of their players at the front of the stone pass and the other behind it, but okay. But yes, for those who are unfamiliar with these guys, the Team Juan here are all pro-level players. So Snooper, State, Dinky King, and Veggie all have accounts in the top 200, I believe it is. And they've all competed in a lot of the different tournaments. Some of them with better results, much better results than others. I think actually, unfortunately, the only one who didn't make it into Golden League, he just missed out, was Veggie. So commiserations to him. I probably shouldn't bring that up. It's probably a little bit too soon still. But the rest of them have been in Golden League more recently. And then on the other side, their opponents are highly ranked. In fact, when I looked on the leaderboards, I believe they had the 3rd place slot at time of recording, and then God, I would have to read it because there's a lot of Chinese accounts in the top 100 for 4v4s, but they are like tippity top. Especially considering that these 4 lads over here have been playing a lot of 4v4s. They do it quite frequently. They like to do it for the challenges, and also they just enjoy the team games. So they are fairly well stacked on the leaderboards themselves. So they're not getting these stompy pushover games that a lot of us have maybe experienced in our first few matches of 4v4. I'm excited to see what can happen here, because I feel like it's been a while since I've cast some 4v4. We cast a lot of Mega Random, which is free-for-alls usually, and in that format, occasionally the 4v4s as well. Then you have the 2 ways, but like actually just some raw 4v4s. It's been a while, and also I think they tightened a lot of the distances. I feel like these players are spawning a little bit closer than they used to, so maybe there's a better opportunity to assist compared to what they used to be. And in this type of generation, especially, like I'm looking forward to seeing how they prioritize the defenses, because on the one side, when you do look down here at the wait, I've been looking at this wrong the whole time. This is fair. This is fair. I see it now. I see it now. I'm an idiot. So the generation is fair because what's happened is one player on each team has spawned on this side of the pass. It's actually from northeast to southwest. Or it's like northeast team versus southwest team. I, for some reason, was thinking it was northwest team versus southeast team. So I thought it was this team versus this team, which would be a cool way of doing it, like having 2 players separate each. But considering the way that 4v4s play out, I think it would be worse that way. This makes a lot more sense. This is definitely a lot more balanced. Curious to see what Southwest team can do, as they are the pros. They've got to set the standard. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a little bit aggressive. Looking at their Civ choices, Snooper could very much lead the way with that, playing as the English here. But right now, he is going for the slow feudal timing, which is understandable. One of the issues with trying to be super aggressive as the English on a 4v4 map is that by the time you arrive in your opponent's base, they're probably already halfway to castle, if not there. And it means you just have just dead weight, wasted units at that point. Especially considering that if you were to rush across, the player you'd be rushing is the French player. In fact, they have double French, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's Team 2 playing the aggressor here. And it's cool as well because they have Delhi and Mongols, which are very strong castle-age civs. So overall, I quite like their composition. When we look at the full composition for the pro team here, they have got some interesting elements. Veggie playing as the French is a little bit surprising. Historically, Dinky King is usually their French spammer. I'm expecting Veggie to play midfield aggressor. Snooper likely to just boom up to castle, and I wouldn't be surprised the other 2 players try to rush castle. Having said that, in team games, the Abbasids have been very useful as a feudal delayed civ, so that they just kind of hold their opponents back with, like, throw their spears and whatever to try and just be the tanky unit for the front lines. The issue, however, is the transition feels crap now. When they used to do this play, where they were kind of like the feudal delayer, and they stay there a long time while everyone else went castle, it was back when Siege was a lot better. Not only did you build them quicker in the field as the Abbasids, but also the Mangonels were useful. Now with Mangonels being nerfed, and your build in the field speed being doubled, as in taking twice as long, I feel like the Abbasids don't function as well as the slow tech up unit. I'd rather see the Abbasid player go for a quicker castle age off of secondary TC, and then look to get into camels, which could control the midfield flow, and would be phenomenal in a game where you're up against double French. especially considering it's on a 4v4 map, so very likely that you're going to see these French players pushing almost exclusively knights. Wall's now going up, so looks like they want to dictate the flow and be able to be on the offensive. Interesting that he's walled as the French player in this situation. He has been scouted out by Snooper, and Snooper, yeah, he knows what's happening now, so the walls make sense. It looks like the intent here out of the orange player is to go for a secondary TC, and it will be right on top of the deer stack next to the wood line, so definitely gonna get some efficiency there. Question mark is whether we're going to see similar out of the other French players in this game. Someone has to be playing tempo aggressor, right? There's no way everyone just chills back. I sometimes can't help but feel like these maps are still a little bit big for 4v4s. Maybe the solution would be to push the spawns closer to the center and then have it the same size, so you have like a fallback point, but you'd be surrendering something. Because it does feel like a lot of the time when you get in these 4v4s, people try to just play for a hyper late game, castle, imperial timing, instead of getting aggressive feudal. Having said that, though, with a Mongol player setting up double archery range already, I think we're going to have a midfield aggressor, and it is going to be a Magadai play coming out from the pink Mongol. Kind of excited to see this as well. Remember that Magadai are really, really good against the French. So if Veggie does kind of tank that role as feudal aggressor, he's definitely going to get Pepper Pigged here because you aren't able to gap close. Remember, you move at 1.62 movement speed. The Magadai move at the same speed, but are able to fire on the go. Secondary TC coming out from Veggie. Peel back of the villagers. One strike was good. Nice block coming out there. Veggie ensures the second strike doesn't come through. So no eco lead there. Meanwhile, back in the purple French player's base, it seems like he doesn't want to go multi-TCs, or maybe he's just going to do it delayed. It looks like he's on there now, the glorious 69 stone gathered already. But only 3 people doing this is going to delay his timing. Looks like his intent is to be midfield aggressor alongside the Mongol player, and then fall back for an eco boom with a secondary TC. And not stopping at secondary TC, orange player goes up to 3. I mean, he's playing hyper greed here. He is in the corner. He has walled up. But you can already see that Snooper has no intent to come and fight him. And I like this play. Like, I feel you're baiting yourself. Like, realistically, you don't want to push more than 5 longbowmen max because you are up against a French player. All you're doing by pushing more longbow is providing value for them to then go into a knight, which will just run you down. Instead, he chooses to just pad his economy, make sure he's at least in midfield so he can see anything coming his way and draw us attention. And while he does that, he booms his eco up back at home. And how are we looking on Dinky? So second TC now being built. Oh, third rather. I was going to say, it's 2 TCs seems a little bit light at this stage. So 3 TCs is more respectable. It's what I'd expect out of a Basset player, especially considering how much cheaper your villages are via the fresh food stuff 50% reduction. Meanwhile, Knight still on the prowl. I feel like Veggie's done a good job of keeping his base condensed, though. Outpost also going up, so even extra layers being thrown in to make sure his villagers don't get sniped. Overall, pretty solid here. And it looks like we got confirmation rank. So it's rank 3, rank 13, rank 327, rank 1480. Yeah, I've got a feeling that these are Smurfs. Because apparently these guys played together regularly, according to the data. So I wouldn't be surprised. And how do I find that data? Copy paste, baby. That's how I do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, as was astutely pointed out by Sniper, like they might be using low rank accounts to like level it out and get easier matchups. Wouldn't be the first time we've seen that. Like overall, so far, the opening plays make a lot of sense. I don't feel like anyone's misstepped it at all. We haven't seen over-aggression. I like the amount of knights the purple player pushed, and now he should be able to fall back for a secondary TC. Question is whether he can find some extra value in the meantime. Magadai riding around. Good move there on the State stone line. Looks like he's going for the multi-TC build. Interesting choice here. Considering State could have alternatively just went into a compounder defender and then built into keeps for the town center keeps, which I think is a better play here than just stopping off for multi-TCs. Maybe one town center is worth it as a deli, but past that, I think you should just be playing towards the keeps. Well, that's happening. Look at this play coming out from one of the Chinese players. It's going to pop out a Rax on the central outpost, on the central sacred site with the outpost. And looks like it has been capped already, but not by the Delhi player. Whoopsie daisy, Angel, not getting the bonus gold there. Snooper. Are we only 2 TCs? Soon to be 3. It's going to be the King's Pass and then the double stable. Looks like he wants to get aggressive quickly here, identifying that the French player is a little bit slow on the tech up, but not too slow, mind you. 3 TCs into a guild hall, matching the timing of Snooper, meaning economically he will be ahead. Just a question mark of what he can do with it. And now 4 defenses coming out from State, just making sure there's no raid in on the east side. Does need to deal with this side, though. Sacred Sites are going to be frustration. Gold trickle going the way of the Chinese team. Curious to see if State is going to invest in that secondary TC. It looks like he can't get on the stone, so maybe to his benefit in some way. Needs to build a few archers. Once those archers do come out, the Magadai are not going to be doing anything. And now the Horsemen trying to ensure that's the case as Dinky will chase him down. No maneuver arrow now coming off cooldown. Looks like he will peel back as a result. And while that's happening, Castle Age is achieved. And it's going to be the Chinese team going up first. So, Orange not far behind. Curious to see how far off Snooper is, though. Only pulled 7 villagers for this. We'll make his way up the King's Pass. I think Veggie did stop at the 2 TCs. Doesn't look like he has any intent for going for more. Has at least got Knights prowling the midfield, but really needs to find a way of diving in, especially considering that they're all being greedy on the other side. The Mongol has gone up to Castle. He's now into step redoubt. Wouldn't be surprised if we see him now backstep into a secondary town center. I feel like this becomes more accessible for the Mongols at this stage because they'll have surplus gold to trade for the needed wood due to the step redoubt and the power it gives. Backside House of Learning. So yeah, we're going to see the Delhi player probably play hard into Lancers in this game. It's a pretty scary cavalry game for the pros to come under fire from. Like, the Chinese team has 2 French players, and they'll now have the Delhi with the Hone Blades. Not to mention, you've got the Mongols with the movement speed on their Lancers. So overall, this is a really, really powerful cavalry composition that they have rolling into Castle Age. Kind of curious to see what the pros are going to do in response to that, though. At the moment, the Magadai are still being a frustration that isn't easily answered as it's only some naked horsemen down at tier 2. If anything, Dinky needs to tech up, and it is underway, but still far off. Over a minute left until he's able to access that, and there's a question mark as to whether he even wants the horseman upgrade. Walls are going to be forced out of the orange player, as it looks like he doesn't want to address Snooper directly yet. Understandable considering he went for Guild Hall and the triple TC. He's all about the boom. And any stop off for military force is going to cripple him somewhat, especially considering he's got a hard time ahead of him as he wants to transition into these farms, which is what he's now setting up for. You can see the amount of food and gold as well. So it looks like it's going to be transition not only into farms, but also Imperial, at which point he should be racing out with Knights. Wouldn't be surprised if alternatively he plays into Siege and a slow roll towards Snooper's base, considering he has these natural defenses of the mountainsides to his east flank. Meanwhile, in the center, man-at-arms are being pulled. How's the Home Blades looking? Ooh, halfway there. 2 minutes out. The timing on this could be pretty sexy for Team China. Well, the Dinky does get his tech up. That might leave him a little bit exposed, the rush in. Man-at-arms trying to gap close. They don't have the forced march to work with by the looks of it, though, so it's going to be a slow chase in. And the Magadai drive-by is going to force the garrison out. Dinky about to lose a lot of villagers here, getting crippled on the eco count as he's being peppered by the Magadai. Magadai are going to wheel off now, up to veteran status, doing 11 damage per shot. Knights also arriving, all of them targeting in upon Dinky King. He's under fire, he needs assistance soon. The only upside is although Snooper is not here, neither is the orange player either. Instead, the orange player is being raided in by Snooper himself as he beats him to the cavalry punchline. An ironic turn of events for a French player here as the English are the ones with the cavalry advantage. Meanwhile, in the base, cavalry needed. Veggie is going to arrive with reinforcements to try and buffer off the assault here. Camel Riders also now coming out from Dinky King. Needs to get that movement speed buffer as soon as he can. Magadai are going to be pushed away. This is the issue with the Magadai. Remember, they're good at raiding on the eco lines, but the moment they have to dive is when they die. As the town center fire shreds them. Only 105 health. No real resistance to speak of here. So Magadai will at least try to get a little bit of additional value before retreating away, but nonetheless, they will be forced off at the end of that. Dinky King now sitting at 76 eco, not too bad, especially considering when you look at the orange player, who I think when free TCs is a little bit quicker and also is the French, so he's producing quicker, is down at 79 eco due to the raids that are still going on from Snooper. Snooper trying to grind the orange player's eco to a halt, and perfect timing as well considering what he's doing. He's went for the red pass, he's went for the proxy base in the center, and now he's looking to be the aggressor. Raid still going through, forcing all the villagers off, and it looks like the villagers pulled all the way east, so they've abandoned base right now. Everything back at home is going to grind to a halt, but now Snooper, not with a quick way of eliminating his opponent, seeing that he's gone up the Imperial, he'll understand this red palace has been placed somewhere completely different. And the proxy base is building up in the center. Deli boys trying to get involved much faster in these fights. Raid through, not too effective, but that should be a switch out now. Magadai more or less depleted for the Mongol player. Be interested to see if he reinvests. It looks like he's going to continue to push them for the meantime. An interesting choice here considering what you're up against. I guess he still feels like he's not answered at all. State, we really haven't seen anything out of state, so wow. Someone just pointed this out. That is a very low score. What happened to state? Why is he at 44 eco? I mean, he played one TC, right? He got denied on stone. I think you need compounded defender and recovery, but I don't know. Yeah, he did go for it. Okay, so we are going to see the recovery of the keeps. This is really big. State is going to be a late boomer, but he does have a way to get back in this game. The Magadai was frustrating on him early on when it denied him on the stone line, and I think that's what screwed his plan a little. Instead of trying to insta-boom into castle and then go for the keeps instead, he was trying to race towards that second or maybe even 3 TCs, and because he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, ultimately he was punished. But make no mistake, there is a way for him to recover now, especially considering he's not the frontline player, but it does mean they're essentially playing 3 versus 4 right now. However, it's working out reasonably well. Dinky moving in with the chunky Camel Riders. Remember, these Camel Riders, they're not a heavy unit, so the crossbowmen don't do bonus damage against them. They have 270 health. That's going to be a denial on the keep, forcing him back. Delhi player forced to retreat on the Chinese side. A lot of ground being gained. This proxy base is not going to last against the amount of cavalry pushing forward. Assistance is needed soon, and the orange player doesn't seem to be providing it. Instead, he's still trying to reinforce his own base. It looks like Snooper's Knights are finally going to be cleaned up, but not before he got a bunch of outpost defenses down on the front line. And this raid through is going to be blocked down. Nice play there. Snooper already anticipating what's coming his way. The Magadai starting to kind of lose the fruit they were bearing early on. I think he needs a switch up soon. Meantime, State looking to boom himself up with Relic Recovery. And a second TC is now going to come out. A very late TC, but definitely a recovery point that was required. Has at least got this keep on the front, and I love this now. Instantly into the village fortresses. Isn't going to take him too long. 4 minutes remaining. And then he can just start to move out into these proxy points, right? These eco points on the map, and then drop keeps and push villages. I really like that play, actually. That's really good for the Delhi in team games. It's just better than going for the TCs outright, right? You want to be staking a claim to an area, and usually when you move out, you have to plop a keep anyway. So you're actually saving a lot of resources. Also, because you went for compound defender, it's actually cheaper to build keeps than it is to build town centers. If you don't believe me, just check out the numbers here. A town center costs you 400 wood, 225 stone. A keep only costs you 600 stone. Remember, the compound defenders reduces the cost of anything stone related by 25%. Magadai count increasing up to 39 now. Camel Riders, they zoom in though. 1.87. The mistake that I'm seeing coming out from the Mongol player is no forward outpost, so he doesn't keep that Yan movement speed. If he did, these Camel Riders would never be able to reach him. Now, for the time being, Magadai are enough to scare away Veggie and Dinky. The defenses are starting to go up in the meantime. No new raids out from Snooper just yet. And as I say that, the Knights now start to ride in. They won't find anything, though. Villagers haven't really been hanging around here. They instantly get produced, and then they push through past the enclosures. Meanwhile, Shed Gold on the backside. Snooper's like, why are you here? I've got barely anything at the back. That's because Snooper's a greedy boy. He hasn't realized just how much he's munching away at. I mean, how many TCs? I think he stopped at 3 total. Eco count has to be looking solid though, and Veggie himself, he's a little bit slower too, but more gold demand for him as he's mainly just been pushing Knights the entire time. Still only 1 player up in Imperial after all this though, mind you. Wondering who's going to race forward next. Looks like Veggie's prepping himself, and he's getting forward keep as a result of this as well. A keep that hasn't been spotted yet. They don't see it. Well, they see it now. They're going to try to react, but the Knight's in position is going to make it difficult for him to try and deny the keep going up. So stake in the forefront for Veggie. Retreats the villagers away. Chase through the choke point. Needs to finish this off, but he might be finished off himself. The Magadai rush coming in. Villagers have to wheel back past the Knight line. And it looks like it is going to be a good night for this keep. No way of building it up right now. Just too many Magadai in the area. This Zerg fruit is becoming ridiculous. Knights forced to fight here. A bad fight for the Mongol player to be taking. Remember that these Knights are still pretty chunky. And the last thing you want to do with the Magadai is be gap closed upon. And it seems he wasn't paying attention. He'll wheel it back now. But Trey definitely going the way of Veggie as he wipes out half of the Magadai. While that's happening, small raids going into the eco lines. They never walled up. Big mistakes being made there. Both sides choosing not to wall up. It's so difficult on a map this big and this wide. It's why we've only seen wall ups on the northwest front, where Snooper is now dropping a keep as well. These stone walls have still never been completed, and they never will be completed. Snooper has full access to the French base. Meanwhile, in the center, staking flame over here as well. Snooper is going to reach up first to Imperial Age on the pro side. No surprise either. These are the two players at the most defendable location. Hence why they're able to be greedy mother duckers. Meanwhile, these night raids coming in from Snooper are being fairly effective, actually. Wow. Fairly is an understatement. Secondary TC now being built by the Delhi player on the Chinese side because he needs to recover. Down to 40 eco at this stage. He's been crippled by these tiny raids. That's no surprise as well. It's so hard to notice these moments in the game, right? This split off. Snooper's been on point. From raiding on the north side of the map to now the east side. Back and forth with just 2 or 3 Knights at a time has done heavy chip damage to the Chinese team. Meanwhile, it feels like the Chinese team is just being baited in. I don't feel like they've really been doing that much eco damage. Outside of the early raid into state space with the Magadai, it's mainly been them just fighting military units. It's a big mistake because if you're not getting rid of the source of these units being produced, right, aka the eco that's allowing for these Knights to come out, then you're never actually going to address the true problem. You're actually, what you're doing at that stage is you are trying to cure the cause, cure the symptoms rather than the cause. Or treat the symptoms rather than the cause. And that is no way to address this illness. The illness that Snooper has been so far, and now with the Golden Hat upgrades, these Elite Knights just got super spooky. Crossbows in the mixer as well, and that is a fight that he could take, but he's a little bit paranoid because the Veteran Royal Knights, if they get the charge off, they do get bonus damage, which brings them up to a number comparative to the English Elite Knights, at least for the first 5 seconds of combat. Speaking of Elite Knights, Elite Royal Knights in the mixer now. Looks like Orange has started to build up a critical mass. Question mark is what he can do with it. He is up against a lot of Camel Archers, which is going to reduce a decent amount of damage to the Magadai and the Knights. And that's the problem what I'm seeing here. This heavy reliance on Cavalry, we said it was really good for their formation, but it's countered outright by Dinky. If they can't kill off Dinky, I think that's why they started to target him so early. They needed Dinky crippled, because this Camel Aura, it cripples everything you do. Remember that everything you're pushing doesn't get bonus damage, so you're getting that full 20% cripple to your damage output on the Magadai and Knights. And that is going to matter a lot here, folks. And you can't kill them quickly. These Camel Archers up at 170 health each. Fight underway next to the keep. Holding fast for the moment, but does need assistance soon. Push through on the northern flank, though. It looks like Snooper wants to ride straight into the reinforced lines, and they're relying on Dinky to hold this, but Dinky can't hold it alone. He needs some assistance. He needs it fast. The flurry through, the rush through, the flood through of troops here. Moving in, and they're moving fast. The maneuver arrow, remember, it does affect them all. And that rush through is going to wipe out Dinky's army. He needs assistance fast. Question mark on whether he's actually going to get it anytime soon, though. Veggie ready to elite up himself. But he needs to yeet his opponent out of this game. A sizable quantity of Knights on the front line, but no answer to this forward base that has been built up by the French player. The Snooper unable to easily just eviscerate him, right? He can't wipe him out. The 3 landmarks at the back here is good, but that 4th landmark on the other side, it's just too much to play for right now. All attention drawn to the center. Right through Magadai, still an absolute pain in their ass. These Knights can never gap close upon them. The only way you can do this is if you wrap around and cut off their retreat. Veggie backing off for the moment. 40 villagers working to get the red pass up. It means he doesn't want to fight just yet. The Elite Royal Knights just outdo him too much. The Royal Bloodlines alone too much to address before we talk about cat cells and everything else in the mixer. Cavalry numbers starting to grow. I love the way the Delhi player has actually played into man-at-arms here. He's providing the solution to a lot of what they're trying to push from Pro Team, right? Like the crossbowmen easily deal with all the knights. No spearman push, which is a bit surprising, but he's up against camel archers. But even the crossbowman damage, it's good to get rid of the camel archers. He needs them gone. That's what unlocks their win condition. They're so heavily reliant on cavalry. As we already highlighted, Dinky King solves that problem with the camel unease. Dinky King looking to do exactly that as he gets more camels out. He did just take up an imperial, so have the elite camel archer upgrade soon. In the meantime, not quite there, but with the elephants now in the mix, remember they've been doing most of this without the assistance of State. State has had minimum impact on these fights, but now he's starting to wheel it out with the Mangonels, with the elephants, and now the crossbowman battalion. I like what's happening here. It's actually impressive. You have to praise it. The pros have been holding on. It's actually 4 versus 3 because State's been in recovery so long. You can argue that the French player was kind of playing, the orange French player rather, was kind of playing a little bit defensive as well. But realistically, he was building up surplus after cracking Imperial, something that State still hasn't done. And I don't think it's going to be big from Evo because it takes so long for you to realize your investment. Nice wrap there coming out from Veggie. Blocks off any escape and wipes out Purple's French line. Any ground gained might be forfeit now. Keep on the front line is going to be exposed, so State has to peel the villagers off and run away. But they can now push forward, and they can stake a claim in the center again. You see Orange just trying to do what he can to get rid of a few of these tower elephants. It's just not enough. It just feels like a throwaway, actually. It feels like a big waste. I think you need to stop. Like, build your forces first and then push in. The trebuchets are gaining you ground. Everything else just feels forced, and it's to your detriment. Now Knights from Veggie are becoming quite lethal. Magadai are still a problem though. 14 damage per shot. They will pepper you down fast as you're about to witness. And I love this. Longbowman out of Snooper. It took a while for them to come back into play, but they are going to be big here. Longbowman most definitely the solution up against the Magadai. But they do need to be protected. If they get caught out, they cannot stand up against the fire of the Magadai, as you're seeing here. And really, you do need that attack speed buffer as well. The network of citadels could be big here. Pull 1-2 villages, build 1-2 outposts, get some sort of proxy base, because one of the issues of going for these longbows is that you are far off from the combat, so trying to reinforce takes what feels like 1,000,001 years. Veggie with the wraparound. Magadai quick to peel back. Another person that could be using his outpost right now is the Mongol player, still doesn't have it in place. Trebuchet target out, that's a bad trade. Veggie. Army's essentially going to be forfeit at this stage. Crossbows, Magadai, everything targeting him out. Dinky King trying to get in the mixer now with the big boys. He has moved into the elite camel riders, 320 health on each of these camel unease, reducing the damage of half of the composition, if not more, of the Chinese team. It's not good enough. They get cleaned up. Needs them in bigger numbers. While this is all happening, though, Snooper is on the move. Trebuchet's moving in, now breaching through. He needs to get access to the red pass. If he can bring that down, he can win this game. More camel riders coming out. The split up of forces now to the benefit of the pros here. Elephants are going to be sacrificed, but camel riders will clean up the knights. And also, because you don't have the Yan movement speed, you got to watch out for those camel riders, folks. 1.87 movement speed. And with the bonus damage they have, they can insta-clean up the Magadai. With what they're now looking to do. It's like too few of them remain. The crossbowmen still reigning supreme. Front force gaining a little bit of ground, but defense is still holding for the pros. And I am concerned about Snooper right now. Snooper is gaining way too much ground. This is too unanswered. Like, nobody's come over here to deal with this. And you can see what he's done now. Look at this strong play coming out from Snooper. This is a power play if I've ever seen one in a 4v4. All your base are belong to me now. I will be the French and the English. It's fitting historically as he's playing the Black Prince. Actually, he's more William the Conqueror at this stage. Snooper looking to make sure that he doesn't forget his French roots as the English. And with everything in the back going down, it's all going to be on this red pass, which is why now the orange player has to peel off. He can't assist in the center, and that's going to weaken you heavily. And that's something that Dinky, State, and Veggie can take advantage of. Need to be careful on these choke points, though. Looks like they've drawn the attention of both French players. So a little bit of unification coming out. Elite man-at-arms try and hold them back. The trebuchets are now going to be exposed. These man-at-arms, incredibly chunky, are going to hold back the knights at the moment, but you really need to start pushing crossbowmen. Instead, it's just going to be more man-at-arms as Snooper continues to build up the forward network of racks. Meanwhile, in the center, some gains being found. Keep to stabilize, but Keep needs to be taken down, belonging to the Chinese team if we want to actually breach past here anytime soon. Nonetheless, these defenses are starting to whittle down the Magadai count, and still no transition coming out from the Mongols. It is simply Magadai all the way from start to finish for win or for loss. This count Knights, though, it's getting big. Up to about 70 now for the orange player. And now State finally up in Imperial. Only one other player yet to be there, and it's the other Delhi player who's still not made his way up. Now that State is here, though, it will take a long time to realize your potential. So remember, although you do get all those researches for free, it takes a very long time to get them. And oh my god, the trade! All right. Looks like Team Pro is looking to scale infinitely here. Nothing similar coming out from the entirety of Team China. It is only one player, the Mongol player, who's going into trade. Everyone else ignoring it. And look at this play now coming out from State. I believe he does have it in the back corner. No. Wow, interesting. So State maybe missed a trick here. He could have pulled villagers, built marketplaces over here, and then you could have instantly had your markets build here, gather immediately from the trade post, and then you would have set their home to a marketplace on the other side. The importance of this is that you half the distance to get the initial return on investment of building these traders. Him on the center. Whoa, Dinky boy. Whoa, Dinky boy. He's coming in hot. That is a lot of camels and not much front line to hold them back. The ranged battalion is not going to hold here. The distraction has been effective. Snooper, he drew the ire of double cavalry here. Both knight players turned their attention to the north side, and that means they're going to forfeit the center. Mistakes have most definitely been made. A lot is going to be gained here for the pros. They will not be denied any longer. Maganel's looking to wheel up as well. Does need to address the keep at some stage. But right now, the Camel Battalion from Dinky is getting work done here. Elephants with a great assist, able to ram through the buildings if need be. But that frontal base is about to flop. And then it's back to the drawing board because so much is going to be exposed. Look what Snooper's now doing. He based on the north side, and then he comes in on the south. With the longbows, cutting off the reinforcements. Veggie now joining with the horsemen to be a front line for his bro to the west. Now the English rolling in those long-range trebuchets, looking to target out the red pass. This could be problematic. They're going to have to rush forward towards it. Longbows not going to do that well against the Knights. And it looks like Snooper realizes this fight is done for now. Veggie is going to wheel it back as well. Meanwhile, on the north side, though, it looks like all landmarks have been sniped here. So it is critical that they guard this at all times. And the choke points as well, this can become frustrating. You know, you don't want to have to keep running north and south, but that's exactly what's going to happen here. Unless you burn down the proxy base, the intent for Snooper is to now draw you back and forth, keep two of the French players locked up here, and know that even if this fails in the end, the amount of ground that would have been gained in the south will make it worthwhile. Especially if the trade's starting to build up. There it is. State does do the pull. So here you go, folks. This is a top tip. If you want to get value out of trade, this is how you do it. Build out of the marketplaces here, then instantly set the home point for your markets to your one over on the opposite side, and then collect from this trade post. What it does is it gives you the amount you'd actually get for the full journey that you're seeing these people return, where it ends up being 391, but you only have to do one direction. So you instantly are feeling good about this. Like, you basically half the amount of time required to return your investment. Now the push forward. A little bit of slaughtering going on, but this feels like this is like a little bit of an overinvestment, actually. I don't know how much you can gain through this push. Veggie does need to be careful with the villager force. That is going to be exposed. Needs some defenses. Has gone into racks. But where's the production, Veggie? What's going on right now? His wood and gold is not looking good right now. Realistically, you just need spears. He's been pushing horsemen as a cannon fodder front line, but now he's going to get flooded in upon. They're rushing in fast. They want to try and take a player out. With this many knights, it might be feasible as well. And they might also find the trade at the back here. This is a huge vulnerability for Team Pro. Meanwhile, on the east front, push forward. State just trying to move deeper. The Magadai still seemingly just comfortable, cozy right now. All attention on the west side. They need reinforcements. And the torch is coming out. In under the TC. That's one landmark down, free to go. And the second one is sitting right next to it. After that, it's not going to be that hard to find the rest here. Wait, where is the guild hall, actually? That's an interesting point. Am I blind? Nope, there it is. I am blind. So busy looking at the map, just not looking at the screen. 3 landmarks on 1 screen. It does not bode well for Veggie. All they have to do is turn onto the red pass. Red pass a little bit harder to breach, mind you. Remember that if you garrison it, every single unit you garrison is an arbalist added into the fire. So you can pepper down this army fast. And you can see this army just wants that landmark victory over Veggie. They're rushing out towards it. But the camels are here. In with a clutch save. Dinky arrives with reinforcements. A lot of camel riders moving through. Needs to block the assault. And so many knights going to be going down. The camel armies reducing the damage and also getting their own bonus damage up against the knights. And they'll rush through in the choke point. No garrison coming out. They're trying for it. I don't know if it's going to be fast enough, though. It's tough to see. The scouts now rushing in from the other side. The horsemen rather coming in. This could be good enough. And there's no assistance quick enough. Veggie blocked out from getting to melee range. These choke points working against, and the torches coming through, and it might be done. He needs to repair. He needs to repair fast. I don't think it's going to be good enough, though. Halfway on the guild hall, Veggie looking like he's going to be out for the count. And it is going to be the case. They torch it down. Veggie is going to be slain. First out. Team Pro down to 3. Can they pull this back? An admirable try, but it just was not good enough. Veggie now out of the game. It is a 3 versus 4. Dinky still has the solution to what's being pushed against him, but now he needs to find a way of eliminating Team China quick. And it could be the orange player. The orange player has to be your target. He hasn't been able to rebuild the landmarks. It's simply one over here. They need to make a push for it soon. Snooper is moving in, this time with Outpost to pad him and then boost up his trebuchet assault. You've got about 3 minutes to make it work, though. And Magadai starting to press you is going to be a problem again. State now pushing forward with Spearmen and Bombards. Needs to get rid of the proxy base fast. Doesn't want to give that bolster. And it looks like all eyes are fixated upon orange here. Snooper backing up the play. Camel Rise and Camel Archers move in. No boiling oil? What? Dog, we've been here a long time. How the hell have you not got boiling oil? Hi-ya-ya. Oof. To make it worse, Veggie apparently only just got that 6k gold from all his traders, so he could have traded it out, given it across to a teammate. Missed opportunity there. Means they're just going to have to do all the work themselves. No assist coming out elsewhere. Keeps going up. Orange understands the state of this game entirely. Like, he can try to bolster his eco, but he needs to get access to his landmarks. He can't be crippled like this. The Trebs could just end him. One wheeling out now. Trade is coming through from Dinky, taking a very interesting route back to base. Seems like they would... Oh, no! Oh, no. They can't go through. They can't go through. Veggie with the grief. Because Veggie is dead, they can't go through this. It's not a teammate anymore. So the trade is going all the way around. Past the front line. Oh, and that front line is getting mighty scary. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O, Dinky. Having to make sure he holds here, or they're about to all lose a lot in this area. And there we go, Dinky. He got it covered. He thumbs up. He's like, no. We need to fix that. I want my trade, damn it. I paid good money for this route. Veggie will not grief me today. Oh, this Veggie guy, folks? Doesn't give his teammates his 6,000 gold. Also, make sure they can't get gold themselves. Veggie with the middle finger saying, if I can't win the game, you can't. The pros refuse to be out like that. Treb's doing a lot of damage here. Rolling in the bombards. The rush forward State. He comes out of nowhere. And it's unanswered. They can't torch it down quick enough. They're going to do it. They got one down. China about to go down to 3 members too. As they lose one of their Frenchies. It's a 3-on-3. Clutch play coming out from State. The big boy play. From how oppressed he was to how impressed we are now. As he ensures that they deny one of them. Can they follow through now, though? Because it looks like trade is happening on both sides. They are not a stranger to it anymore. However, they might be soon as Snooper sneaks in a group of man-at-arms. This trade's about to go down to 0 slowly but surely. No more proxy racks, though, so push out a man-at-arms is a little bit slower than maybe Snooper would like. But Snooper now establishing a forefront here, which he can build a proxy base in the center right outside of the other French player that he needs to address. And it's starting to feel like there's some hate towards the French. I don't blame them. These French people 2 French players down already, 1 to go. We'll teach them to spam Cavalry, the filth. Meanwhile, in the center, Dinky pushing in. State assisting with the bombards to get rid of all this infrastructure, and State now switching over to the Horsemen. Horsemen that do need to be upgraded to elite status. Is going to take a while, but plenty of buildings to choose from that can do the research for him. And also State, the reason he caught up like this is at one stage, I think he had 15 scholars helping him research. Down to 9 now, as he's got most of what he needs. But you can see how it allowed him to recover in a late game situation. No pressure on him at all times. It's good teamwork coming out from the Aussies and the honorary Aussie. Now Dinky. I mean, I'm impressed with how Dinky done this. Like, the pressure he had applied to him at an early stage of the game, the way that he's kind of been the backbone in a lot of ways for his team now, being under fire constantly, but also always keeping his camels pushing out, countering everything that the Chinese have been doing, has been impressive. And it definitely has been a critical element in how they've come into this game. Can't deny Snooper's presence, though. Been booming in that corner non-stop. Seems like there's a never-ending chain of troops coming out for good reason as well. He's holding probably the biggest surplus of any player in this game still. And yeah, you can see as we look through, that's definitely confirmed. Like, nobody has comparative numbers to what he's sitting on. I think even when we looked at Team Orange, yeah, the Orange player didn't even have a comparative. That's why Snooper in a powerful position to plow on through now. Dinky looking even more potent, though, and the rush through. He's going. Soon to make someone gone. Let's see what they can find. They just want to deny the eco line at the back. They understand if they don't have trade, they don't have anything. There's no way they've been building up surplus with the way they've been playing this. Their lines looked a little bit too thin. It seemed a little bit too suspicious. And now with the shift to the backside by State, all of this trade is about to go to net negative. While that's happening, you see Snooper taking his time to push in. Purple just trying to rebuild his forces. It's just taking so damn long, though. Red power soon to fall. No repair coming out. Mistakes being made there. I don't think you should be allowing this to go down. This is a big deal if you allow this to just be sniped. By 1 trebuchet as well. That's the other detail. 1 trebuchet is about to kill your red powers. Like, come on, dog. Fix this. No, yeah, exactly. Don't build another keep. Fix the better keep. That's too late. Treb shot. If he gets this, it's just dead. Rush in, Spearman in the brace, and the choke point as well. This is just going to be an army wipe if you're not careful. Big mistake being made taking this fight. Trebuchets able to still target out. They'll switch over on the cluster at the back. And that's exactly why you don't use trebuchets to attack archers. As they've done absolutely nothing. But now the longbowmen are going to reign supreme. Snooper able to take the efficient trade here with the attack speed buffer being ridiculous. Up at 50% increased attack speed. Purple, how are we looking on the landmarks? He's looking healthy up at 4. Dinky, of course, floating at 2. Don't be deceived, though. He is an Abbasid player. So nobody on the edge of being booted out yet. I say that is looking grim fast. Even without landmark snipes, like the eco is going down towards 0 fast for some of these players. You can see how they're struggling to actually keep the production up. And it ain't going to get easier. Yeah, your food is good, but what about your wood and gold is my bigger concern. If you're playing a food and wood exchange only, I feel like the Lombos are going to reign supreme in this late game situation, which is exactly what we're seeing in this fight, as you cannot do anything. You can't reach them. That range differential is just evaporating the French lines. And all across the way, more gains. State moving in with the bombards now. Camels countering out any Magadai play possible. The trade also just denied entirely. No trade remaining. Maybe 1 or 2 of these caravan boys just waiting to be sniped out, but no way home. Meanwhile, look at the other side. Thriving, booming, feeling good about it. Ignore these guys. They're drunk without a purpose. They were owned by Veggie, but now they are vegetables. They seem comatose, unable to make money anymore. No buku bucks for them. Mongol player might be in trouble soon, though. Push in. Magadai reacting and instantly taking out the elephants. Mistakes made. Dinky split a little bit too thin. Doesn't have his troops in position. That's a heavy loss for State. Bombards are going to be target down. Elephants falling as well. And now, because you've taken out the elephants and bombards, you can take good trades against these camels. And you need to as well. You can't fall for too much more ground because Dinky, although he is going to lose the center fight, look what's happening in the north. Snooper gaining more ground. Red pass now down. Horseman not being pushed out quick enough here. Trebuchet still holding healthy at the back. This rush through. I mean, this feels like it's tunnel vision. This is bad for you right now. You're about to lose the entire battalion again. You won't even get one trebuchet for your trouble at this rate. No, you will not. Trebuchets live. Push forward, looking for more landmarks. Landmarks which are stacked on top of each other, by the way. Town center here, School of Cavalry close by. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, okay, the guild hall already down. So it looks like we might be saying bye-bye to the third French player in the next 2 minutes. What? What? Nani? Oh, Nani? That is not what you want to wake up to in the morning. That's not because elephants are ugly. But it's definitely looking ugly for the Magadai. Because his army just got wiped. I don't know if he's got the resources to replace. Gold is gone! Oh, no. That might be the... That might be the... that broke the... Well, not the camel's back. Definitely the horse's back in this situation. Because your French player is under fire. The Mongol player can't afford to replace his army. It really is all on the Delhi player at the back here. Yes, he has reserves, but he hasn't got a front base anymore. Remember, that got sniped down. That means the slow reinforcement of crossbows might not be good enough. Only a few hand cannoneers in the mixer as well. The camel archers just too chunky at 240 HP each. Gains being made on the north side. Snooper, relentless. Seems like he's almost always just sitting at pop cap. This, oh my god, these elephants. I just don't think you have the answers anymore. Like, you're not pushing knights. That can't handle it. The horsemen aren't really doing it, especially with the mix-in and war elephants now. Like, overall, this is just looking done. The goose is cooked. Right, but the horse is cooked in this situation. A bit of a gamey meat, but there's been plenty of dead horse to eat in this game, as it has been primarily cavalry on cavalry. And as a result of that, Dinky has just been the star player in this. Always the counter, always the solution. The waving of the white flags coming out. Ironically, it's not the French player to do it next. He will be last, but it will be inevitable, Mr. Chinese player, because you're done in this game. Even though they lost a player first, the pros reign supreme as they slay the 4v4 gods.